best helping hand that you will ever receive is the one at the end of your own arm. This is said by Fred Denner. This shows that the thought that motivation is best when it is brought up within yourself. Good morning, my name is Sylvia Chen, and I'll be discussing intrinsic motivation and its impact on academic performance. My proposed research question is, has developing intrinsic motivation impacted the academic performance of people aged 15 to 30 within the last 20 years? My position is that yes. Developing intrinsic motivation has improved the grades of students, positively impacted medical school admissions, and creates conscious choices in students. Developing intrinsic motivation has improved the grades of students. Science Direct provided this graph that shows the relationship between academic motivation, academic integration, and academic performance. With higher levels of intrinsic motivation to accomplish things, there are higher levels of academic integration. As seen in this graph, the line goes up. From high levels of academic integration, students on average have higher test scores, which allow them to have a deeper understanding of the course material that they have learned in a classroom and apply it in a real-world situation. This graph shows the comparison between extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation when it comes to standardized testing. On the left side are average test score percentages, and on the bottom is pre-test, which is the average class grades based on motivation type, and post-test, which is average class grades after testing. Both of the dark bars, which are intrinsic motivation, are higher than the white bars, which are extrinsic motivation, which indicates that intrinsically motivated students perform better in schools. From the College Board's applied stimulus, Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela says that part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed towards the sun and one's feet moving forward. When looking at testing grades, some students may fail and other students may pass. But the push to move forward is a part of intrinsic motivation from within. Resilient people sustain high levels of achievement, motivation, and performance despite the presence of stressful events or conditions, as one of them may be medical school, which leads me to my next claim. Medical school admissions have been positively impacted from intrinsic motivation. Selecting candidates for medical school based on their intrinsic motivation benefits the community by producing higher performing professionals. SortSmart, a place that helps universities select top applicants using motivation-based admissions, conducted a study where they found that 70% of people motivated by wealth, status, 70% of people that want to pursue medical school are motivated by wealth, status, or family members, and about 30% are intrinsically motivated. Even though there are less people that are intrinsically motivated, they concluded that selecting applicants based on their genuine interest to pursue medical school would be more sufficient in academic and workplace success. Furthermore, Dr. Moneu, President and CEO of the Association of Facilities of Medicine of Canada, raises a primary concern that professionalism and academic tests can only predict future test performance, and they may inadvertently select individuals who are great test takers but not necessarily passionate about the profession. They believe that the best approach to predict future behavior is to assess the levels of motivation of each applicant. This basically explains that intrinsic motivation is the most important factor when looking for academic integration and applying to medical school for the right reasons. With more opportunities to make conscious choices from within oneself, task performance is improved. This chart from Duke University shows the effects of choice on intrinsic motivation and its related outcomes. The top 3 outcomes show that students have become highly engaged and productive when they have a choice in what or how they are learning, and that they are more likely to use a wider range of academic skills and strategies. The results of examining the overall effect of choice reveals that students have the highest levels of intrinsic motivation, effort, and task performance, which is shown as the largest 3 values under Q, which is variety. Not only does intrinsic motivation affect students, but it also involves teachers providing choice and enabling students to look into their interests. Teachers or professors can play large roles in the academic performance of students too. In conclusion, there is a strong correlation between intrinsic motivation and academic performance. Encouraging and fostering intrinsic motivation in students can help them to become more engaged, motivated, and be successful learners. Students are more likely to continue their education beyond high school, pursue advanced degrees, and succeed in their chosen careers, which can be seen through improved medical school admission. Here are my works cited. Thank you.
All right, 2 questions for you. First one, how did you select the strategies that you were going to use to gather the information?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Sure. How did you select the strategies you used to gather your information?
Okay,
And were they effective?
So the strategies I used were to put keywords into like search engines, so I could make sure that certain parts of intrinsic motivation were developed, and this was effective because I found all the information that I needed.
Okay. And how did you use the conclusions of other people to advance your own research?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Sure. So how did you use the conclusions of other people when you were doing the research, what other people said, to help advance what you were researching?
So I used the conclusions of other people, since they helped me develop that my evidence that people with intrinsic motivation can benefit from medical school admissions, and this leads me to have stronger evidence to develop a stronger research question.